This past weekend at Money in the Bank, Damien Priest fought Seth Rollins. There was a moment where Priest got pinned. The ref counted 1, 2, and then kick out! Except, he never kicked out. The ref simply pretended he did. Priest botched the kick out. It was excruciating to watch. In just a few short seconds, the entire business of professional wrestling was exposed for all to see. When something goes off plan in professional wrestling, and it often does, it's called a botch. There's literally hundreds of examples that range from minor goofs to life-ending catastrophes. In the grand scheme of things, this wasn't so bad. But for Damien Priest, it sure felt like it. Now, I've produced thousands of hours of television, a lot of it live, and I've had plenty of things go wrong, so I really understand their suffering. After a lifetime of crafting stories, it was even more heartbreaking because it was like watching all of their hard work go up in flames. So what happened? What could they have done differently? We're going to talk about what went wrong, some ideas about what they could have done, and how I've handled disastrous storytelling mistakes before. Alright, let's roleplay. You're in an arena filled with 15,000 people. You're on TV in front of millions. Your every move is going to get documented for tens of millions more on the internet, dissected for history. And then, Seth Rollins knees you slightly too hard in the head and you see stars. He hits a falcon arrow, lays you out on the canvas hard, and when you wake up, you wiggle your fingers and toes to make sure you're all there. You look at your opponent and say, "What's going on?" He tells you, "Kick out!" And then you remember where you are. That's what happened to Damien Priest. Look, when you screw up at work, I'm gonna guess it's not in front of millions of people, and it's probably not because you got hit in the head by a 250-pound dude. And you likely don't have strangers on the internet telling you suck for it. But that's exactly what Damien Priest has been going through since Saturday. Referee Rod Zapata was stuck in an untenable situation. If he counted 3, the ending of the match would be blown. If he didn't, the whole reality of the match would be thrown into question. So, which one was the right decision? Let's run through the options. If the ref had counted the 3 and Seth won the title, it would have had ramifications that spiraled out for months on WWE TV. First, one of the stipulations of the match was that if Priest lost, he had to leave the Judgment Day faction, which is a huge story to have to pivot into. Second, the match just a few seconds later was to become a 3-way match when Drew McIntyre cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase he won earlier in the night. That would then lead to interference from CM Punk, which threw gasoline on their feud and reignited his feud with Seth Rollins. Plus, there's already a match scheduled for SummerSlam between the winner of this match and Gunther, so now all of the plans for that match would have to be changed. So just counting to 3 probably wouldn't have worked. Option 2 is to not count. That breaks the illusion of the match, but maintains the fiction that was already planned. Now here's the thing. How many people watching the show don't know that it's predetermined? What percentage? 5%? 10%? And how many of them actually noticed what happened? I'm going to guess a very small amount. So essentially, it was a choice made between looking awkward for a second to a small percentage of the audience, or throwing away months of planning. There were, of course, things they could have done. Seth could have faked the kick out. The ref could have swept his hand under Priest's shoulder to try and sell that his shoulder was up, or even play that Priest was out as a reason to stop the count. There's a million would-have, could-haves, but the fact is that there were 3 men with a red light on a camera telling them, "You are live." Look, I haven't been there as on-screen talent, but I've been there behind the scenes. I've worked on award shows, parades, game shows, as well as dozens and dozens of sets. And the reality of shooting anything is that things go wrong. But that goes especially true for wrestling. And all I can really tell you is the advice that I got from one of my mentors about disasters on set. You take a deep breath, you shake your head, you say, "That's a shame," and then you move on to the next setup. And that's exactly what they did on Money in the Bank. Now, for days, weeks, maybe even years to come, people will be talking about the botch. I mean, people talk about far less severe ones. Search for, say, Hulk Hogan botches promo, or for the WrestleMania 35 botched ending, which, by strange coincidence, is actually the same referee. And you'll see that these moments live forever. But as you comment and snicker with your friends, all I ask is that you remember what Triple H said when asked about the incident at the press conference right after the event. These are just human beings in a ring. Mistakes happen. It's really just impressive it doesn't happen a lot more often. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on the Money in the Bank PLE, check out my full review of the event. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.